Electricast.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
The kids are still at practice, and I have no idea what's for dinner.
You can get a rotisserie chicken and 2 sides for just $15 in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Who said that? Who's in my house? Don't play with me, because I'm not the one.
It's just your friendly Walmart announcer. This is a commercial.
Oh, okay. You were saying dinner for a family was just $15?
Yep, it'll be at your door by the time you get the kids home from practice. Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Subject to availability, restrictions and fees apply.
Now that was a helpful commercial.
Welcome into Missing the Point. I'm your host, Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside by my guy, Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. And today we are talking about another hard-fought loss by the New England Patriots as they went down 24-17 against the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. Before we get into everything that was that game and preview the Jets week, Ray, how are you doing? And I guess how are you feeling about the game?
Well, I'm good. You see, I'm in support of my guy, Sanders. It's not a college football show tonight, but shout out to them for getting their win on Saturday night. Yeah, a lot of us stayed up to 2 a.m. to watch. If you say otherwise, you're lying. Everyone is invested right now. He's even made Mike become a college football fan, so that is awesome. For what
it's worth, though, bro, I fell asleep at 11:30 and woke up at 1:40. So I did catch the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't miss much. You saw the best part. You saw,
right.
Shedeur, who I'm hoping is in a New England uniform, and we can talk about that later on next season, because that dude is special, and we're seeing it unfold right before our eyes. And yeah, so it was personal. But no, I'm good. Not feeling great about the loss. I just like last week, I am out of moral victories to give. Yes, there were bright spots. There's always bright spots in the game, unless you lose 40-0. But that wasn't the case here. But there's just a lot of things that they just don't do well. And like I said, we'll unfold. We'll let that unfold as the show goes on.
Do you think it would be better, or well, maybe not better, but easier for us if these two games were 40-0? Because it feels like, as a fan base, not you and I, me to some extent, really not you, we're clinging on to the positives, quote unquote positives from this game. But it feels like those blowouts would actually help facilitate some change faster than what this is going to, because as a fan right now, then I'll turn to you. It just feels like, the Patriots are exactly who we thought they were. Like, to quote Dennis Green, right?
Yeah.
They are just not good enough. That's it. And they'll stay in games, but they won't win the game. But like, how do you handle these close losses as opposed to like the blowouts that the Giants suffered or that the Jets suffered this week?
Listen, I'm for those who don't know, if you've heard me speak on any platform, I've talked about this before, but it's relevant to this conversation. So I'm a type 2 diabetic, right? I feel that my blood sugar goes through the fucking roof every time I watch these games. So whether it's a Celtics game, whether it's just getting there with the Bruins, I haven't been as invested as them as I have with the other 3 teams. But it's like, oh my God, it's just like my A1C, whatever level you want to check, you prick the finger, like it's gonna go way up because my stress level is at all time high. But like I don't feel good, and honestly, I can't sit here and say that I would feel better if we saw them lose 40-0 or 30-10 or whatever it may be. Like, either way, especially you and I, we're going to unleash. And I'm not understanding. I won't say I'm not understanding. I'm actually shocked on how many people on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, shout out to Des Bryant, right? I can't believe how many people are just in this, like you said, in this positive. It's almost like we're like the twilight zone of like, it's not on Mac, it's not his fault. The O line is this, the running backs is this. The defense didn't do this, and I'm just like, yo, like, what has happened to half of Twitter? You have Patriots Nation Twitter, like, what has happened? And I'm like, this is not the Boston fan base that I that I know and sometimes love. Like, this is not us. So I'm like, are we really making excuses for why things aren't the way it is? Like, figure it out. Find a way to win. Once again, you made enough plays to be there in the end for both weeks, but somehow, some way, in the words of I forget his name, but the agent from Get Smart, you missed them by that much, that much, and that's a problem. Once again, if you heard this show, you have been and if you've been a fan of the show, first of all, we say thank you. Continue to listen because there's more great content coming. However, my nickname for Brad Stevens, y'all know. I've called Brad Stevens horseshoes. Once again, much better GM than he has been a coach. So let's put that out there. But what I'm seeing now, New England's turning into the football version of horseshoes. It's we almost got the first down. We almost got a touchdown. It's like we almost coached them up. Like, I'm tired of the almost. And once again, me and Mike are both fans of Brandy. Almost doesn't count. And she told us that back in 1998, which is a great album, Never Say Never. Go listen to that on Spotify. But like, it almost doesn't count. And I'm tired of the almost. I want to finish the story. Pun intended. That was for you. I want to finish the story. That's what I want.
Sir Duke is on fire tonight. I mean, you are just out of your mind. Out of your mind. Before we get too far down into the negative rabbit hole, what were some of the positives that you did take away from this loss? Because to your earlier point, there are some.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. Well, if everyone's number one takeaway today or yesterday, whenever people talked about it, as we reported on Monday night, Christian Gonzalez, that he's the real deal. And what my thing is, what do you know? Imagine drafting the talent that's there, and it's like, oh, I drafted the best or one of the best players available, and it actually pans out. What a fucking concept, Bill. That I'm glad that you actually did that. He needs to do a lot more, especially on the offensive side, but it's another conversation of the day. But yeah, Christian Gonzalez was phenomenal. Once again, Tyreek Hill only had 3 catches, 34 yards on him. He got the pick on usually Tyreek Hill burns anybody that gets down there. Not only did he catch up to him, but I mean Tyreek Hill is like 5'9" at best on his best day. I think Gonzalez was like 6'1", 6'2", so that was easy for him to jump up, catch that. And it's funny because I'm the one who tweeted on our page saying, I'm like, oh, Gonzo pick 6 loading, and then he got the pick right after. I wish it was something. I wish he was able to return it, but I just felt that was coming. Like, I'm like, big time players made big time plays, and I feel like he is someone who was in there. And once again, I know I just bashed the offense a few moments ago, but I do think Mac Jones played okay. There's a caveat to what I'm saying about him playing okay. When Mac Jones plays in no huddle, that man is top 5, maybe even top 10. And people may listen to this tomorrow and say that's an exaggeration. To that, I say, oh well, you got a better take that could come on here and prove it. No huddle Mac is elite. Like, that dude, I don't care if it's taking a duck, and I don't care if it's a seam route. Like, when he processes things very quickly, and it's like when he's on, he's on. And to me, anytime I feel like he has to slow down and look at, the third, fourth, sometimes fifth option, that's where the sacks come. That's where the indecisiveness comes. And that's where, fans are ready to drive him to Logan Airport to find his replacement. So I just feel if we could put him in many, no other situations as possible, which means that people need to be, in top tier conditioning, which this team is not, because I feel like someone's always getting hurt. Then we'll see. But yeah, no huddle Mac is awesome. And then the special teams, right? Special teams is really good. That was a hell of a play by Brendan Schooler last night. It sucks that's the key that we're talking about. But once again, that was, you told me to stay positive, so I'm trying to. That was a positive play. They kept them in the game briefly, for the moment. So those are the 3 things that I think about. So no huddle Mac, Gonzo, and then the special teams play last night.
Yeah, I think my number one was also Brendan Schooler, right? But we already you already talked about that. Then it's Christian Gonzalez. I think the fact that he was down, he was with Tyreek step for step, which is unbelievable.
Crazy.
But one of the things that has plagued New England Patriot defensive backs for as long as I have been on the radio or a podcast, had a microphone in front of my goddamn mouth, they don't turn around to play the ball. And this guy, he caught it at its highest point. Like every pundit out there that's played the game, that played on defense said, like, that is exactly how you would teach someone to intercept the ball or to pass defend. And it's, to your point, you went out and got the most talented player that was available to you. And last week he had a great pass defense against Brown. This week he goes one-on-one with Tyreek Hill, and he came away with the ball. That's my number two. Number three, I'm going to go ahead and say Mac Jones was a positive. And I'm going to tell you that he was a positive because, yes, when you're in the no huddle, he's dynamite. When he runs the play action, he's still dynamite. But the fact that I looked this up today, the average time between when you snap the ball and pressure is felt in the pocket across the NFL is 2.9 seconds. Mac Jones last night, 1.8. So, but he literally snapped the ball and had someone to worry about. And the fact that that he kept plays alive with his legs, that was super impressive to me. But that also leads to a negative, because the fact that I had to utter those fucking words means that your offensive line is in such shambles. And again, we're going to transition right into the negative, right? I don't know if you know this, but again, that shows itself in the rushing game, where Ramondre Stevenson had 15 carries for 50 yards. He is averaging 30 yards per game through 2 games. And I got news for you. He didn't forget how to run.
Yep.
This isn't on him. You are seeing the reverberations of that abysmal offseason in the offensive line, and he's paying the price.
So let me ask you this, right? Because obviously, before we'll get some more takeaways going forward. The Bengals just released La'el Collins, right? So La'el Collins, when he came out of college, was a really good lineman. Was good in Dallas. Dallas had the best line in football for a few years. He was a part of that with Zach Martin and the rest of that crew. Do you at least give a call? Because once again, I know other teams are looking.
Yes.
Do you just give a call and say, hey, what would it take to get you here in New England? Because my thing is, looking at what Calvin Anderson did last night, he wouldn't be even allowed to leave the locker room. Like,
the Dolphins,
it's ridiculous. Isaiah Wynn looked better than Calvin Anderson last night, and that's a fucking problem. That is wild. Isaiah Wynn, who was a wasted first round pick here back in 2018, 23rd overall. When they had 2 first rounders, he went 23rd, and then they drafted Michelle at 31. Obviously, Michelle just retired before the season started, so that was that. But it's like, damn, like when Isaiah Wynn is looking like Steve Hutchinson out here, that's a fucking problem. That's a problem.
Yeah. And the
like,
fact that
do better.
Fact of the matter is that Miami's defensive line, they're not world beaters. You're about to go up against 2 of the hardest defensive lines you're going to play all year, and you were giving that shit up to Miami.
Right. Now, can I make it worse though? You know who
Please
wasn't
do.
out there last night? Jaylen Phillips wasn't even out there last night. He wasn't even out there. Jaylen Phillips, who played really well last week. I know they lost to LA last week or whatever, but they beat LA. I'm sorry, they beat LA last week, but they won. But I'm saying, like, they gave up a lot of rushing guards and a lot of big plays to that offense. And to my boy Anthony, real quick, I told you about y'all Chargers. I told you, y'all never healthy when it matters. But that's a whole other story. We'll talk about it off camera, buddy. But I don't know. I'm like, you lose Jaylen Phillips for the game. Got he hurt himself on Friday in practice, and that still happens. And once again, Bradley Chubb. Hey, I know you came over from Denver. Denver, you're not a scrub. They got some other guys on that defense that aren't scrubs and could play. That's not what I'm saying. But when you make them look like the '85 Bears, or the 2000 Ravens or the '02 Bucks. Like, that's crazy to me. And like the best way to negate the pass rush is to run. And what was the overall thing last night? 25 rushes for 88 yards? Really?
Yep.
So that's what 3.7 maybe a carry for the
It's
whole thing. And
3.5. It's 3.5 a carry, but your second leading rusher was Mac. 5 carries for
yeah,
25 yards.
and Mac had 5 for 25. So Mac was your leading rusher purpose. Like what? What do you what? Like that's not the formula for success. It can't be. Mac's out there running for his life. He's already like he's not mobile. I'm granted he's more mobile than Brady and anybody that was here. I get that, but it's like, damn, like really, like I don't understand. I mean, maybe if they ran a little bit more, I don't know, maybe it would have looked better. I don't know, but like I said, to me, if you can't at least run block, I can understand having to struggle with pass blocking, but you should be able to run block a little bit better than you pass block a little bit, because when you're run blocking, you're pushing ahead. You're not retreating back. You're supposed to push ahead. So they clearly missed Trent Brown last night, which is wild to say because he picks and chooses when he wants to play. But I've seen enough of Calvin Anderson. I want that to be clear. That is my takeaway. Get rid of Calvin Anderson. That man does not need to be on a field. Riley Reef does not need to be on the field. So all these little signings they did, Tyron Ridley Jr. My thing is, I don't know. I don't know how you thinking that getting these stop gaps is the answer. This is now 03, and that's the fucking problem. He still operates like it's 03 or even 1975 at time. Stop getting stopgap players to think that they can come in and just do whatever. Everyone's not going to be Stephen Neal. Everyone's not going to be that. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm going off in this tangent. I'll let you get back to running the ship. But I'm just to me, I'm here for it. I'm all over the place. It's out of control. It's out of control.
I mean, Calvin Anderson made Andrew look like bullcrap. Like that's how bad that offensive line. And people will say, well, maybe they abandoned the run game, but the fact that you had 25 attempts when you were down 17-3 before halftime, they were pretty consistent with the rushing attack. They tried, but their line is so terrible that it doesn't matter. And again, Mac had 1.8 seconds between when he snapped the ball and when he felt pressure on average. There are very few quarterbacks in the NFL that could win a game with that type of pressure coming at them every single snap, and he's not one of them.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't know. Yeah, but it was crazy. We actually praised the line for playing well last week against Philly, and Philly got more dogs on literally because they a lot of them are from Georgia Bulldogs, but they got more dogs on defense than Miami does. Once again, but Ramsey was out, Phillips was out.
But we talked about this last week that the offensive line struggles didn't show up so much in the passing game, but it showed up in the rushing game last week. I mean, Ramondre has been a shell of himself. Has been a shell of himself this year.
Yeah, and remember, you and I spoke about it because we talked about how you were worried that Zeke was going to take away, from what he does. Nope, it ain't got to do with Zeke either. It's that damn line because they couldn't block. They couldn't block a code. They couldn't block anything right now, and it's like guys out there looking crazy. So I don't know if they have to do more screens like how it was in the Charlie Weiss era, and then that's when it might come. But once again, even then, they can't even get off the blocks. That's the problem. They literally cannot hold their blocks on any type of play. That's crazy to me. That's the biggest difference. It's wild to me.
To paraphrase the great Shannon Sharp, their offensive line is so bad they couldn't play dead in a horror movie. Like it's
that was hilarious this morning. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. That was so good. I was like, wow, yeah, right.
But a thing that now it's only 2 games in, but I think we're starting to see a pattern here. One of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk to you about and just get your take on is for a team that going into the season, we knew that they were not going to be able to win shootouts. They were going to have to dictate time of possession and really run the ball effectively. Offensive line is what it is. Why do you, if every team, including Bill and the Patriots, know that we are not a team that can come back from a deficit. Why has it been 2 straight games where we're down at least 16 points in the second quarter?
Maybe they're glutton for punishment. That's what maybe they like to say that these other teams are our daddy. But that's basically what's happening. And I forgot who said it, but I'll take their statement. So credit to whoever just said this recently. But and they're not in the lead. It's over. And it's funny, that seems to be a theme across Boston sports right now. If a Boston-led team is not in the lead, every time we're weighing the lead, it's over. We know what it is when it comes to the Celtics. And they're not up by 25. You got a fucking shot.
Well, no. If the Celtics are up by 25 or more, they're going to lose that game. But if they're down, they're going to win. They play a great. They play a great second half.
That's true. We'll get into that in October when I blow a gasket about that. But it's but I don't know what the rhyme or reason is, because like I said, it's not like they haven't ran certain plays, but it's just like certain that there's been no explosive plays in the first couple of. There's been some decent plays that we've seen, like, oh, okay, cool. But I don't know what the root of it is. I mean, the root of it is that they don't have great skill players. That's the root of it. But I don't know. Maybe they should be more aggressive. To me, it's 4 downs for a reason. Fuck the field position. Unless you're at your like 21-yard line, like if anything from the 35 and up, I may go for it. Just to give my team a spark and say, you know what, I want to see, what you're made of. And perfect example, I'll say this, and we can move on, or you give your response. I think about last year when I think it was the Giants versus Titans in week 1, and no one had the Giants winning that game. They thought Tennessee was going to win, and new coach, new regime, whatever. People basically gave up on Daniel Jones and the rest of that organization. They come back. They were down, I think, a touchdown. They come back. They tie it. Oh no, they don't tie. They're down 1. Dable says, "You know what? No, we're going for 2. No one thinks we're going to win this game or whatever. No one's. We're going to go ahead and they get it. They get the 2-point conversion. They don't win 10 games. They win the playoff game last year." And people are starting to look at them differently. And I'm like, maybe that's what needs to happen here. Maybe someone needs to say, you know what, or whether it's Bill O'Brien, whatever, just to say, you know what, I want to see what we're made of. I want to give us as many opportunities to be successful as possible. Let's just roll the dice. Once again, you're not winning the championship. So let's just see what people have. That's where I'm at. And once again, and I know that sounds wild to say, oh, are you making it seem like the championship a bust? No. But my thing is, I just want to at least make the fucking playoffs. But the problem is, to get to 500, you got to win your next 2. And like I said, once again, that seems very bleak. And once again, we'll unfold that later on. But it's just like that. That's a very daunting task at this moment, because they constantly want to play from behind. So that was a super long answer, but the short answer is that they're glutton for punishment. That's why they have the slow starts.
So can I tell you why I think they have the slow starts?
Absolutely.
Because I think that the first 2 quarters of the game, of the games we've seen so far, are exactly how we stack up against the competition that we played so far. We are 14 points worse than the Dolphins, and we are 16 or 17 points worse than the Eagles. The problem in the NFL, I think this kind of goes for every team out there, is once you get up 17 points early, I think that whoever's leading always just kind of takes their foot off the gas, and they start playing a little bit down, a little bit more relaxed. Now, if you have a team like the Dolphins, it doesn't matter, because you can turn it on whenever you want. The Eagles, they can pretty much turn it on whenever they want. But I think what we're seeing in the first 2 quarters of the first 2 games is more representative of the team that the Patriots are, and how they stack up against the really good teams of this league. That is what it should be. These games should have been 34-7.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
whether it's our resilience or the fact that both teams tried their hardest to keep us in those games. I mean, let's talk about the big plays that happened unfolded, because last year, what we didn't see a lot in the first couple of games of the year were big plays defensively. They were good defenses, and we were solid, but we weren't seeing fumbles, we weren't seeing interceptions, and we damn sure weren't ever praising special teams.
Right.
That all happened in this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got defensive stops. I think the Dolphins were they 3 for 10 on third down? It was something like that. The Patriots held them as much as the Dolphins were 4 for 10 on third down efficiency. I mean,
Right.
and the Patriots were 7 to 15. So the defense did its job. You pick them off, you block a field goal. But let's talk about that interception by Christian Gonzalez. Tua throws that pick, right? Gonzalez, great. And then Mac and the offense go 3 and out, and the punt they punted back to Tua. So basically, Tua started with 12 yards further down the field than he did when he gave the ball up. Yep. It was great defensive stands, great impact plays, and the offense just fucking sputtered. And I'm not a Mac apologist, but I will say in this game that his biggest mistake was that awful throw to Devontae Parker on the sideline. But the other part of me wants to say, well, we were told that the reason that we went and got Devontae Parker and then we signed him to another extension was because any one of those balls that you throw is a 60-40 ball in Devontae's favor. He didn't even contest it.
It wasn't even near Devontae.
He didn't even contest it.
No. It wasn't even near him. And my thing is, why are we throwing on Xavier Howard in the first place? Why? What is that? So it's not towards you, but I'm saying why are we throwing to one of the best corners of the game? And of course, I know he's on the field, so eventually you got to get him at some point. But scheme him open so you throw him on the other side because he's going to get most of those. We saw it even in a terrible season last year. He had plenty of catches where he jumped over people. So that's possible, but it wasn't even near him. And the fact that what Xavier Howard did was what most great corners do. He used the sideline as an extra defender. He basically guided him out of the on the boundary, so that even if he did come in and catch it, it wouldn't have counted anyways because you can't be the first one to touch it as you come back in bounds. So that was great coverage on Xavier Howard's perspective. But Mac Jones, once again, what are you thinking in that moment? You just were given the moment. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was talking about. Where it's like, where is the signature moments? And all the people that's crying about how he's not getting this, mini Mac, not getting this, not getting that. I just want a signature moment. Every young quarterback for the last 2 years just about has had a signature moment except Mac Jones. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And once again, back-to-back weeks, he's been given an opportunity to either tie the game, take the lead, and for whatever reason, he wilts under pressure. Literally and figuratively. It's wild to me.
It leads me to the last offensive play for the Patriots of the game, when Mac was flushed out of the pocket again 1.7 seconds after snapping the ball. He's flushed out of the pocket.
That was bad. Yeah, that was bad.
He throws Chigaseki, who's short of the sticks. But I mean, I don't know how what else is Mac supposed to do? He got the ball down the field as fast as he possibly could, and there was a lateral. Cole Strange. Well, he's short of the line.
He got there though, man. He didn't get there.
He didn't get there.
That first down.
He didn't get there. I mean,
give him that first down, man.
Okay, the referees were not the reason.
They reversed the Ramondre, or they couldn't reverse the Ramondre, but you found a way to reverse that. I don't know. We
had the unfortunate luck in that last play that you could actually see the knee down and where the ball was, and it wasn't past the line. I mean, but the reason why I don't want to say that the referees blew this game for us or that they called a bad game is because that touchdown pass from Mac to Hunter Henry was illegal. Hunter Henry was a blocker. That was a run play that was blown up. He was down the field. You cannot be that far off the line of scrimmage and block and then receive. Everybody called it.
Can I add to that? And not that it makes it better or worse, whatever we want to use. That happens every week.
Sure.
Every week. And so technically, yes, that is true. I was more impressed with the improvisation from Mac. Sorry. Me too. That's a play. That's what I need him to be. Be that, Mac. Be that guy most of the time. Then we good. That was an excellent improvisation play for him where I was like, oh, okay, cool. Boom. Did a little sidearm sling, touchdown. So that Travis Kelce does that quite a lot, and it never gets called. So it's okay. Once again, they hardly call it. It's like traveling in the NBA. We know it's a rule, but it's not going to get called.
I mean, the difference between when Travis Kelce does it and when Hunter Henry did it last night or Sunday night, whenever you listen to the show, is that Travis Kelce always looks like he intended to receive the pass. Hunter Henry was just as surprised as you and I were that ball was coming at him, because that was not the design.
He was supposed to run it. Yeah, he was going to run.
Right.
He was going to run.
So the referees did not cost us that game. I won't allow for that to be said.
Oh no! I'm not saying that. I'm saying just for that. I felt like Strange got it once again. I'll go back and look at it again, and I can have my other narrative on that. But I thought that the ball got there, so I didn't look at the. I was looking at where the ball was. I thought the ball was there. I thought it was quick thinking on Gesicki's half, like he easily could have just went down. And once again, of course, it's not ideal to throw a CSC alignment there. Could you imagine? And I thought about this when it happened. Could you imagine if we had the Dan Connolly part 2? Could you imagine?
Well,
if he actually broke the tackle and actually found a way to get the first or hell even score, could you imagine that? That would have been the wildest.
It would have been better because the catch that Strange made was. I mean, he almost validated. He almost validated his first round selection if he would have made that first down. that was his JD Drew play.
I mean, he ended up turning out to be a good pick last year. I know he had to play in a little while, so I know that's why he was. Yesterday was the first game he played. I think. I don't think he played in the preseason either. So, yeah, listen, he definitely would have been. His status definitely would have been elevated had he got that yesterday. But honestly, and we didn't say this, but whenever we'll say it, because this is what we do when we call people out. That last place on Bill O'Brien. And the reason why I say that, you gotta call a play that's going to get 6 yards.
Can I just argue the fact that I think that the play design called for Gesicki to be past the line, but Mac didn't have time to set it up, so he got it there. But I think if he had one more second, that's a 9-yard in instead of a 6-yard in.
Yeah. But even in, my thing is, and Gesicki and Henry showed it last week. They showed it throughout their career. Run the fucking seam route. If they're coming like that, that means it's single high or cover 0 behind them. If it's cover 0, that's a touchdown, or at least like you said,
yards.
8 to 10 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the play you run there, or even you run the play that Tebow ran to Demaryius Thomas years ago. When they sent everybody, they was like, well, get it out of his hands because he can't throw. He based Demaryius Thomas run a slant and went 80 yards. So to me, there's other plays that could have been called in that moment. Also, I don't know how we got this far on the show and didn't bring this up either. The benching of Pop Douglas was a fucking joke.
That was my next bullet point.
No, this is why we're here.
You jumped it, but the one thing I'll say is if you have a chance to go back and watch that last play, I think you're going to be sad to realize that Miami didn't send the house. They rushed 5. They dropped 6 back in coverage. They did not blitz everybody.
Got you. Well, gotcha. Okay, I'll go back and look. Like I said, obviously it felt like it because of how quick he got the ball out of his hands, but I still feel like and once again, because I was so excited to see that the seam routes were going to be back in the offense with O'Brien coming back. To me, I just feel like that should be the go-to play in that moment. Or even run the seam and have it come in, towards the middle of the field as opposed to, coming out. That's just my take on it. But once again, we'll never know. Like I said, we'll see what happens, going forward. But
let me ask you a question, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Who fumbled on their first offensive possession as a New England Patriot last week against the Eagles?
Zeke, right?
Yeah. Did he play the rest of the game? Yeah. He did. No, he did. And then he played all of Sunday night. So why the fuck did Bill bench Pop Douglas? Tell me why. He is the only, not the only, he is the fastest person that you have on offense. And he provided a spark. And not for nothing, that was a great defensive play more than it was a bad ball handling exhibit. But he He didn't see him coming. He should have took the ball, but I mean, that was a hell of a pursuit and a punch out.
Yeah, I didn't know that Bradley Chubb could still move like that. To be honest, because that's what knocked it out. No, I'm serious. Like I know these Bradley Chubb was really talented. He was on that Denver team that won the championship back in 2016. But I did not know that he could still move like that. To be honest, and yes, I mean I wish that he probably did like the Tiki Barber and had it like up here, because that probably doesn't happen. Or at least if it does, he's probably able to jump on it and then recover quickly. But I don't know. It's the same thing as the Malcolm Butler thing a few years ago. He inexplicably does these things to certain players. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, this is just the elephant in the room. This team is not good enough for him to still operate as if I can bench whoever and we still find a way to win. That's not the fucking case. It's not. It's not. So for him, once again, the only guy on your roster right now that every play could get separation, and I'm talking about every play, because we've seen it from practice. This dude runs routes very well. And once again, myself and some others said, clamored for them to get Zay Flowers from Boston College. Well, you got Zay Flowers light. You got him. Like, he runs routes just like Zay. They're about the same size. I think Pop's a little bit bigger than Zay Flowers, but the route tree's there. The hands are there. My thing is, maybe he responds differently than Butte. Maybe he says, you know what? I made that mistake. The next play, I'm taking it to the house. And now you forget about that because he goes to score. So I don't know. I feel like Marcus Jones made some mistakes last year too. But then we don't get the touchdown against Buffalo last year without that. We don't get I was there for this game. We don't get the punt return against the Jets to win the game. So I don't know. Like, you're not good enough to sit players. Once again, if you want to bark at them on the sidelines, fine, whatever. But to sit him for the rest of the game outside of punt returns, it's crazy. But if he ran one back, now you're sitting there looking fucking foolish. Like well, either way he looks foolish. But I don't get the premise. I can see you sitting for a quarter, maybe if that. But the game's on the line. You still want to teach a lesson? You're dumb.
To your point, this team isn't good enough for them to do that. I mean,
no, but even for a quarter, I would have understood the quarter, not the rest of the fucking game. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get the quarter. I even get a few possessions, but the rest of the game outside of punt returns, because he fumbled the ball. That fumble didn't lose the game.
No.
I can see it. Now that was fourth down, and that was the fourth down play that caught them, and then Bradley Chubb put. Yeah, we probably have a different conversation right now. Fine. That wasn't the case. It was in the first quarter. It was in the first quarter. So I don't know. Once again, this is just Bill being Bill. I just want him gone. I do. I'm over it. I'm over the antics, because the antics isn't producing to the wins anymore. So it's just like, it's not cute anymore. It's not fun. It's not good. You got to go.
The thing that I took away from it is that after Pop Douglas, coughed up the ball, the next time that they showed him on the sideline on the bench, he had the ball. He was holding it, and you didn't see Booty doing that. You don't see a lot of the guys that he took offense to it. I think he was going to try and make it better. I think it's ridiculous that Bill didn't give him the chance, but he does for Zeke. Now, this isn't a knock on Zeke. This is more of a knock on Bill. Bill's a star fucker. Always has been, always will be. He has his guys that he loves. I mean, Ocho Cinco back in 2011 could not learn the playbook and did not deserve to be on the field. And he was one of their leading target receivers in the Super Bowl that year. So Bill has his guys, and a rookie will never be his guy, ever. And I don't know that that if not playing him cost you the game, but we'll never know, because it is dynamic.
Right. It didn't help either. And once again, my thing is, if you're gonna call up, so this is my thing too, right? To add on to that. So you don't play him, right? Now, granted, I know this guy I'm about to bring in doesn't really know the playbook like that, but he is fast. You don't even let Jalen Reagor see the field either, and you bring him up for the practice squad. Once again, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What is the point of bringing these guys in if you're not gonna see the fucking field? What are we doing, Bill? What are you doing? This team is 0-2 for the first time since 01. And I've been waiting all night to get to it because I was hoping that either you brought it or I brought it, but whatever. Cool, I brought it up. For the national pundits, the people that's on Twitter or whatever, stop bringing up that, the last time they were 0-2, it was because of when they won the fucking Super Bowl. That's not happening. They're not winning the fucking Super Bowl. They're not beating Pittsburgh or whatever. That's not fucking happening. So stop bringing that stat up like as if that gimmick stat like, oh yeah, well, there's no Mo Lewis coming next week. That's ironic. They're playing the Jets next week. That's ironic. But there's no fucking Mo Lewis. There is a CJ Mosley that has the same number as him. So maybe CJ Mosley knocks out Mac Jones next week, and then it's something else. Maybe.
No,
who knows?
We're not endorsing that.
That would be fucking crazy. That would be crazy. That's ironic how that really happens. They did play Dallas that same year too. Like that's so. There is some irony there. But let's be fucking real. Right as of right now, as it is currently constructed on September 18th, 2023, the New England Patriots are not a contender. They're not a contender. So let's not say outrageous things. Please don't do that. Like please don't do that to yourselves. Like that. It's not happening. So, but CJ Mosley, do your job. I mean, I'm totally joking.
Yeah, just leave Mac alone because Bailey's happy is no Tom Brady, and we'd be really happy if Mac Jones was Drew Bledsoe. Let's just put it that way. I mean,
all jokes aside, though, we have never seen since Brady left, we have not seen a crowd on fire here, like it was when that man took over that Chicago game last year. So I'm just saying they clearly was for that wanted him to do well, meaning Zappy. Obviously, he didn't do well the rest of that game, but for whatever reason, folks thought there was some type of spark. And once again, I think you said this before, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. Right. And once again, the reason why people are clamoring for people to come in is because they don't believe in Mac Jones. And if they thought that Mac Jones would be the guy, I just want to point out the fact, and the MTV Twitter X handle put this out earlier today, and it was just a brilliant take. Shout out to whoever wrote that. It's only 2 games. It's only 2 games into it, but right now Mac Jones is on pace to throw for 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. If I were to tell you that before this season started, you would have said, "Sign me up, sign me up." So yes, as a fan for sure, you'd have been like yes, but once again, to take your stance. What does it matter if the results aren't there? I don't care if you get almost 5,000 yards and they go 6-11. What? No way. I'd rather you throw for 3,000 like it's 1985, 17 touchdowns and 10 picks, and we'd be 11-6. Then you get almost 5,000, almost 40 touchdowns, and then half those picks. I don't. That's empty stats. That's Kirk Cousins. That's your boy, Kirk. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to be I want to be someone that these other teams fear. And right now, that's not the case.
It's always been, well, we don't know if Mac can be a prolific passer. And then if he has the stats that I just outlined, then again, it's only 2 games in, and I'm sure he's not going to because he's facing the top 2 defenses, 2 out of the top 3 defenses in the league next. So it's probably not going to continue. Let's just say in this warped, sense of reality that it does. Okay, so essentially at that point in time, 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 17 picks. He's Kirk Cousins or an early Matt Stafford. Now you know that you can build around him.
I'll take early Matt Stafford now.
Exactly, because he's not. Yeah. And who was Matt Stafford throwing to?
Cooper. I mean, no one right now. That guy had a great game.
No. Back in Detroit.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp. You talking about Calvin Johnson.
The little guy by the name of Megatron. Right. So, like,
that was a man.
If he listen, if they go 5-12, 6-11, and Mac has those stats, I think I would be more encouraged than I ever would be.
That's crazy.
Be in him, not in the team, because that just proves. Imagine if he had a top 10 wide receiver. Imagine. Because then you're going to flip that 5-12 into 12-5 because his defense is good enough.
Right. So now that leads to another question. what, and I don't even want to ask it because it's not going to fucking happen, but I'm just going to ask it.
Justin Jefferson thing. I'm going to fucking lose my
No.
mind.
No. I don't even know. I don't even know what you talking about. I don't even know what that is. Justin Jefferson ain't come here. I don't even know. Someone brought that up. They're smoking dope. Even though I think he's the best receiver in the game. But,
I think we tweeted it out, by the way.
Oh, one of us is smoking dope because Justin Jefferson ain't coming here. So,
thanks, Bobby.
So, yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like let's not even come on now. Do you make a move to get a receiver by week 8 then if that's the case? Or does it depend on the record? I don't know who, but I'm like it's gotta be somebody that might be out there that's in a disgruntled situation. Once again, I thought and y'all shot me down for this because then again they're 2-0 right now, so they're probably not gonna make any moves. I really like I love Mike Evans. Mike Evans is in, for those, I love Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans he has consistently been the guy from day one. It didn't matter if it was Jameis Winston, it didn't matter if it was Mike Glennon, it didn't matter if it was, obviously at the end of getting Tom. Like, it doesn't matter who the quarterback was. Mike Evans just produces. And once again, he's playing with Baker Mayfield, and he still had 6 for 1 something yesterday. The man in the words of Big Daddy Kane, I get the job done, baby. I work. That's all he does. I'm like, so if you can find a way, because once again, Tampa Bay, once again, it's a cute start. Y'all, they're not doing nothing down there without 12. So when they're in the same position as we were a few years ago, then that's just what it is. I'd give whatever to get Mike Evans. I think so. You want to see Matt take that leap? Go get a guy like Mike Evans, and I promise you'll see some things you're like, oh, okay, like this is what a real offense was like. I'm telling you, that guy is the man. He stays healthy and he produces. That's a Bill type guy. He produces week in, week out, regardless of who's out there. He blocks well. That's another thing that Bill salivates over, gets a hard on for. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But then again, because it's a no fucking brainer, we know that it would be someone like it'll be Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen will come here in week 8 as opposed to
just to be clear. Just to be clear, I wouldn't hate that. But let's just
me either.
down.
But I'm like, he's not on that level now.
I just think that a veteran wide receiver who isn't injury prone and who's looking for an extension and a bigger contract is probably not going to be the guy that Bill's going to go after. I do think if this particular team is 3-5 or 2-6 before week 8, we could get Michael Thomas. Like that's what you're going to get. That is what you're going to get. Is going to be an injury riddled receiver that's looking to save the other team cap space. Would you do it?
I mean, him at 70% is better than what we have, if we're being honest. and he fits into the dink and dunk because he's missed the 5-yard slant. He's going to get 10 catches a game off 5-yard slants. That's just what he does. And every now and then he might break one. Every now and then.
But let me ask you a question because we're really jumping the gun here. Do you think, in addition of Michael Thomas at the trade deadline or someone like him, I would love Mike Evans. Is not going to happen though, because Bill doesn't roll that way. He wants either off the field issues or injury prone receivers to rehabilitate.
But we know. We just talked. You just talked about it. I don't know if you have a rapport with Mike Evans or not, but if there's certain guys that he would say, okay, let me see if I get that guy. Because once again, if we're talking about getting for a trade or bringing in a guy that can play, at the wide receiver from Randy, we see some other guys. Obviously, we saw with Wes Walker. Like
Antonio Brown.
Go find who? Oh, even Antonio Brown for that quick week, right? So I trust him to go find somebody for someone else's team and come here and ball out. That's not my debate. If you say, hey, go look around the other 31 teams and say, okay, let me get a guy or two that can actually produce here. Oh, I trust him wholeheartedly to do that. He just can't fucking draft him. He go find somebody else that can ball out and come here. So that's why I brought up the Mike Evans point. Once again, I just look at it from a standpoint of like, it doesn't matter who he's been around. The man has produced time and time again. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. like I said, he doesn't miss games. He comes in, he's been low maintenance. You haven't heard too much. So it's just like that fits in. And then once again, I'm sure now, him and Tom may be on mending fences. So I'm sure if that was the case, hey, what do you think West Wednesday? Of course. Bring him in. Bring him in. If that's the case. At least have the conversation. Because before people didn't even have the conversation. At least have the conversation of saying, yo, can we get 13 here? What would it take? Once again, you gave a second for Mohamed Sanu. Like I'm I'm not on. Mohamed Sanu was really decent in Atlanta, really decent in Cincinnati as well for a number of years. So I want to be clear. However, you gave a second for Mohamed Sanu. Don't tell me you can't give a first for Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. So after the truther himself, Aaron Rodgers, went out and blew his Achilles last week, you and I were talking about how those Jets games just became winnable. Almost like W's, right? Yep. After what you've seen from the Patriots against both the Eagles and the Dolphins, are we sure that the games against the Jets are as winnable as we think they are?
So I've been trading this question all night, from our meeting that we had earlier, because I knew that she was going to ask us, and I was wondering what my answer was going to be, if I was even going to have a decent answer. But my short answer is that there's not a lock anymore. Like there's not a game on this schedule that's a lock. We can't even say the Washington game later on in the year is a lock.
Nope.
Look how well they're playing right now. They came in from 18 yesterday.
Yeah, well, it was against. It was still Denver.
Hey, Denver got a good defense. Or supposed to. It's supposed to have a good defense. But it's like, damn. And I mean, quick aside. I'm gonna do this because I'm always gonna give him credit. This is what you and I do when we're on here. Y'all better start looking at Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, because what he's doing now he making Sam Howell look like a guy looking like more than just a jag. So the fact that he's making him look elite, but you don't want to give him a head coaching job, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, they didn't look at him being the head coach soon. Come up here, Eric. Replace Bill. But no, short answer, nothing's a lock. I mean, I would like to think that Zach Wilson is going to play terrible, but knowing our luck, he'd come in there, go 30 or 45, 320, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and then Breece Hall gets 120 on us on the ground, and we lose, 31 to 24. Like that. That's what I'm nervous of. So I don't think next week's a lot. I thought last week, but after what I saw, I'm like, nope, not a lot. And I know they look bad against Dallas. Once again, they look bad because Dallas is Dallas. Dallas is one of the 3 best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league right now.
And definitely
Dallas
the
is
best
going to demolish
defense.
us.
Definitely the best defense. I mean,
hey,
they are
ridiculous. And we'll talk about it next Monday when we do the show. It's gonna be like, we have to get Bobby on for that one, but damn, it's going to be it's going to be a shit show. Like,
oh yeah,
it's going to be a shit show. Like it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
So
yeah, bad.
The Jets, the Jets game, right?
Yep.
The really hard part about this for me is that everything that the Jets are good at, we are bad at. So, I mean, now I think Garrett Wilson is a stud, absolute stud. Obviously, he's offensive rookie of the year. That doesn't mean any praise coming from me. I think that Bill will do what Bill does, and he'll remove him from the equation, right? Just like you did with Tyreek. I mean, say what you want to do. He removed their number one weapon.
Yeah,
but I don't know. What do you do against a team that has 2, I would say 2 good running backs, maybe 1 great, one okay, and they're both pass catchers. Now Zach Wilson isn't going to beat you throwing deep balls. He's going to try, and I think that we're going to.
He doesn't have a good arm though.
For sure. But he's a little too much Brett Favre with the opioids. Like if he just settled down for a second and thought about the play before he did it, he'd be much better. But his arm isn't his problem. He's got, to quote, the great Jerry the King Lawler, he's got $1 million arm, but a 10-cent brain. Like he just doesn't know what to do out there. That's why you bring in Aaron Rodgers. But their rushing attack is good. Garrett Wilson is a problem, and I think that I think if there was ever a game for Alan Lazard to take over, might be this one. I think it might be this one.
So okay, so who would you put on Lazard then?
I would put. So I'm by the way, I'm putting Gonzo on and a safety on Garrett Wilson. And if you need to put one of the Joneses on Lazard, do it.
You know what? I'd like to see Gonzo go man to man. I like to see man to man.
Bill
unless you see no. Actually, no. Sorry. Let me hold on. I take that back. Because what I saw him do the stuff the Trayvon Diggs Sunday, meaning Garrett Wilson, that little sluggo route he ran on Diggs, and Diggs didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, oh, he left that man in the dust and then went for 70 yards. Got it. So never mind. You're right.
No,
but the over the top.
But the thing about that though is that Gonzo isn't going to be as aggressive as Diggs. The thing that makes Diggs one of the most dangerous corners in the league right now is that he has no fear and he will play aggressive. We saw that a couple of years ago when they came into New England. I mean, he picked Mac off, and then the next play, Mac got him to bite and threw for a touchdown. That's not a knock on Diggs. Like I'd rather an aggressive corner always looking for the ball as opposed to what we have here in New England, aside from Gonzo. But I think he'll play it as smart as he possibly can. And
is Jack Jones going to come back at all? Is he playing? He's going to play?
Well, Breer posted whether it was today or last night. He said that it was a freak injury to his hammy. I think. 2 days before the Philadelphia game.
He ain't played. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
right.
He ain't played.
He's still recovering. So, but if you had Jack Jones, I mean, listen.
Yeah, because I'd have put Jack Jones on Lazard. Truth be told, Jack Jones could have guarded Wilson too.
Yep.
Yeah, he could have guarded Wilson too. So
that's a dynamic defensive backfield if you have Gonzo and Jack Jones, because between the sidelines, he's everything that we want him to be. Everything.
Right, exactly. Correct. Yep.
What do you think?
Agreed.
Given what we've seen, the offensive line, Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson have to suffer through these first two games, one of which was against a really good defensive line, the other of which you were going against someone called Van Ginkel. How bad do you think
he played well, though. He played well.
Yeah. How bad is it going to be going up? Your next two opponents are the Jets and the Cowboys, like specifically the Jets. How in danger of losing consciousness do you think Mac Jones is heading into Sunday?
So I joked about it a few segments ago, but once again, CJ Mosley and the boys, they're coming for blood. They're coming for blood, and once again, who knows? We may have a Mo Lewis 2.0.
Stop saying that.
I'm just saying, because the way and once again, it's not funny. I shouldn't make fun of it, but it's literally. I fear that's going to happen only because we can't protect him, not because he's going to run out of bounds and get hit on the sideline. I just feel like he's going to do a 5-step drop, plant on that fifth drop, and CJ Mosley or whoever's going to be there, or Muhammad whoever's going to be there, bam, and flatline him in a moment for a sack. So it's just like, to me, I'm hoping they're doing different protection schemes. I expect a lot of sole personnel next Sunday. Maybe even 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Who knows? Maybe you have Zeke and Ramondre in there to help protect in there, or be guys that can release into the flat, which is one of my favorite plays on Madden, which is the halfback flat or the halfback angle. So that to me should be an installment in the offense right away. But yeah, I expect Sauce to be highly involved. I forget the safety's name, but they had a safety that had 3 interceptions against Josh Allen on Monday Night Football last week. So my thing is, if they got 3 on Josh Allen, I mean, granted, Josh Allen's a lot more aggressive and more of a gunslinger than Mac Jones would ever be. But if they got Josh like that, I can only imagine what could happen on Sunday. So I'm hoping that we negate the pass rush by running. I think this is going to be a Zeke game. I think that Zeke finally breaks out this game, and maybe more of it's a hope than an actual fact. But I think this is the game that we finally see him kick into gear and be what they want him to be when they sign him. So, but yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
How do you,
We'll do a deep dive into the other one next week though. But
if you're
gonna be tough.
if you're Billy O, how do you? Because we talked about this with Karen Garigi, and you can check that out in the show notes. I'm gonna keep promoting that. But if
Oh yeah, that was a great show. So yeah, absolutely.
we're finding out very early that talent is what's most important, right? Like we talked about that before, that you can scheme it for so long, but at some point in time in the game or the season, talent's going to take over. If you're Billy O, how do you scheme around CJ Wilson and Sauce Gardner?
So I maybe putting someone like Gesicki on the outside, not necessarily in the middle of the field, but putting him on the outside. He is like a bigger wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I think maybe doing some stuff like that. Gesicki knows O'Brien because he played for him at Penn State. So I think that's something that's doable. I also think, once again, just getting it out quickly. I don't love the little bubble screens as much, unless you're throwing it to Pop Douglas. Juju Smith-Schuster is not a bubble screen guy. I think if you run crosses with Juju Smith and let him run for 60, he can do that still, because that's his game. And once again, we've seen the tape all last year. If you throw a cross to him and he makes a guy miss, he can go for 20 or 30, which is why you signed him. So I don't know. Maybe put that in the game plan to do that and see what he actually does. So I think doing some of that, doing some more seams, and then running those flat routes, running those angle routes with Zeke. I think just doing more of that will allow them to negate what the Jets are trying to do defensively. I do think the Jets are going to be aggressive. They're desperate for a win after what happened last week, and obviously it's Patriots Jets.
Yep.
It's always going to be something that both teams want to win. I expect both Bills to have their best game plan of the young season, because I think Bill never wants to lose it. He never wants to lose to the Jets. So he'll pull out whatever bag of tricks he needs to in order to dominate, whether they're good or bad. So yeah, we'll see. So we'll see if their best game plan is results in a win. But I can't sit here and say I'm confident, because I'm not. But the only thing that we have going is that they're facing Zach Wilson and not Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So I want to say that this game is going to be a 21-17 victory by the Patriots, right? That's what I want to say. But this could very easily be a 17-7 win by the Patriots. Or if Zach Wilson figures it out, and if he scores more than 25 points, we know Mac's record. What is your final prediction here on this Monday Eve for the upcoming week? Jets hosting the Patriots.
So Jets 24, Patriots 20.
Nice.
Yep.
Started with that negativity you wanted, and you just want to make sure that you ended with it as well. That's great.
Yeah, I just once again give me a reason to be positive next week. Once again, we're
Zach
getting
Wilson.
used to this. Yeah, right, exactly, right. But get hopefully, but get used to this Monday night thing with me and Mike. We're trying to do this during the season for the Patriots. So we thank you guys for tuning in. But I want to be proven wrong next Monday. Don't get me wrong. But once again, when my eyes are seeing, whether I got shades on or not, I'm not seeing something that's worthy of saying that they're going to go out there and win. And once again, 0-4 is on the fucking horizon unless they find a way to get it done. And that's once again, that's crazy. Because when we talked about it was crazy.
I think you're rooting more for 0-4 than you are 2-2. I don't know if this is your alter ego.
Yeah, I'm no, because I can see it happening. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, once again, I rather 2-2, but obviously that means, okay, you salvage the first quarter of the season. Now you may have a shot in these next few games. You got the Saints after that. You got the Colts coming. Yeah. Right. No, I'm saying, but now when you win 2 in a row, obviously your mindset begins to shift. Once again, we've seen a team his rookie year, meaning Max rookie year, win 7 in a row at one point. So it's doable, but at the same time, it's like, okay, what is going to be the play? What is going to be the scheme that is set up? Like, What is this? Give us a moment. And once again, I'm going to keep harping on this until this happens. And for those that listen to it, whether you watch it on YouTube, you listen to it on any streaming platform, until I'm not satisfied with Mac Jones completely until I see him get a signature moment. I've been clamoring for it. Once again, his rookie year, it would have been that Dallas game, but then they lost in overtime. It would have been that Indianapolis game, his rookie year, but then this guy Jonathan Taylor said, "Hey, I'm actually really good too, and I'm going to run 90 yards for a touchdown." Last year, it would have been the Minnesota game, but then they took that Hunter Henry touchdown back. It would have been the not Minnesota game. It would have been the Baltimore game last year, but he ended up getting hurt. He was dealing that game, and then he got hurt. So I'm just waiting for just one. Just give me a sense of moment. Because the other guy that preceded him, not talking about Cam, but I'll be talking about even Cam has some moments too in his career.
Not here, but
just waiting for the signature. No, I'm saying, but I'm saying early on, Cam has back to back signature moments. So I just want that to happen. Once again, we saw it with other quarterbacks. Can we just get that moment? Can we get that? Because we haven't had it yet. And I'm just hoping that it comes sooner than later.
It's hard to follow that up, so I'm not even going to try. For my guy, Rayshawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Missing the Point. Talk to you next week.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go, get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electrocast podcast. You'll love it. Electrocast. Electrocast.